the camera, I might have to do a little different next time. But I'm just going to go ahead and let me introduce you guys to everybody tonight. So as you guys all know, that has followed Talk Pageants throughout the years, and you saw the recent promotions with all the stuff that we're doing with adding extra magazines and just whole extra images. We have now Prism. So I had the opportunity and the privilege to be able to meet this wonderful married couple, and we've actually joined forces in a partnership with this whole venture now. So it's unlimited, all the directions that we can go. So I want to go, you guys go ahead and introduce yourself and just, say whatever you think people would want to know about you or anything like that.
Well, my name is Stephen Edwards. This is my wife,
Trixie Edwards.
We've been married 33 years. We're in business fellows. We come from the background from the fashion world as far as the beauty industry. My wife does, if you mind me telling them about that. And then I come from the music industry, and I also am a screenwriter on the side, and I was able to dabble into public speaking and motivational speaking and things like that. That's just a short view of what we do. My wife has been in the industry of cosmetology for 35 years.
Yeah.
And now she's retired, so she does a lot of consulting. But they used to call her Amazing Hands. So. Yeah, so she's now fashion diva of the family. So, yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I kind of want to tell you guys how, gosh, this dog. Can you hold 1 second? Let me just take the dog out of the room really fast. If you guys would keep talking to the audience, I'll be back in like 1 minute.
We'll talk until you come back.
Right back.
All right. So basically, she's probably going to come back and tell you guys how. Thank you guys for thinking. Hey, it's up there that keep us together. Trust me.
That's right. Praying hands.
That's right. It ain't easy, but it's definitely beneficial if you hang in there.
Right.
And you do what you're supposed to do. People were saying, they were telling us that we were a beautiful couple. And I said,
thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Oh, so you guys can see. I wanted to make sure that you could see the chat on this side.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Because that way, if anybody has questions or they want you guys to talk about anything, it'll usually pop up over there.
Right.
But we're streaming on like 6 different forums. But we only pick up this one forum. So there's other forums like the website and all this other stuff that are streaming. So just so you know, I think you have to go to this one to be able to talk with us and everything.
Right.
But anyways, so I just want to tell you guys how I guess Stephen and I met. So you guys can kind of get a history because I think it is pretty cool. So I started to get into screenplay writing. I'm writing a legal drama series, which really is kind of like a takeoff from what I actually witnessed in the legal world, which is just insane. But anyway, so I felt like I no longer believed in the system. I felt like if I was going to make change, the best thing would be to do a screenplay and try to get it out, in the medium type of format. I noticed a lot of lawyers have actually retired their license. They've been gone that route, which is kind of funny if that says anything. But so anyways, I went on to this website where you can actually read somebody's script, or it actually assigns you to read somebody's script, and then you do an evaluation. And I was assigned to read Stephen's script, and I was evaluating it, and then I got to the legal portion, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. It had so many elements that I really understood. And so I always felt like, well, I felt like if I'm going to evaluate somebody, I would rather talk to them, rather than just being in writing conversation about that. So I said, look, if you want to, if you want me to call you or you call me, I'm happy to expand more on the evaluation. And I said, if you need some verbiage for the courtroom scenes, then I'm happy to help you on that. Right? I felt like I was like, well, he's writing about court.
Les, you're so nice when you explain that. Tell her what really happened. I didn't know what I was doing when I was writing the courtroom scene, and you couldn't take it any longer. You said,
No, it was actually, you did a really good job. I mean, I'm not even going to lie. Like, I actually thought it was really well done, but it's just, but I thought the premise of your screenplay, I thought had very good meaning. I love the dynamic of rich versus poor, and the issues that come within both of those brackets. It was very deep as far as I was concerned. You know what I mean? So I knew that whoever wrote it they were real. They were deep. They were not some superficial person just writing a screenplay. So that's what really what I'm saying. That's another reason I wanted to reach out and see if I could be of assistance. And then Stephen, why don't you expand on where we went from that point with the next screenplay? It's great.
I know. So it was interesting because basically when Les wrote, she sent me the message. You know, I'm like, who is this woman? You know, at first, which is funny, right? But something told me to give her a call, so I did. But what was interesting when she read my script, if you read the script that I wrote, it was more about people of a different culture. So it was about Jewish people, Italian people, things of that nature. So let's say when she seen, after she read it, she looked to see who the author was. It was me. So
no, can I be honest? You guys got to understand where I'm coming from, though. You got to understand this. So just hear me out. So, you know, in the legal profession, and this isn't meant in any sort of like judgmental way with like Jewish or anything, but you will understand that in the legal world, it's predominantly, there's a lot of Jewish people in that realm. And in my experience, like I said, they were always the wealthiest, you know, as far as in my experience. So I was like, when I read the screenplay, I appreciated that you were going back in a different time period. You know what I'm saying? So I understood that, but I was like, wait a second, you know what I mean? I was shocked.
It was funny.
I was shocked.
So yeah. So when she found out, I guess she was like, okay, maybe that even drew her more. But anyway, make a long story short, we got together and we decided to co-write together. And we came up with another script that's called The Basement's Last Word. And it turned into a beautiful piece. I mean, I've never had the privilege to co-write with somebody. It's always been me. I mean, I wrote my first piece when I was 9 years old. So therefore, I was really afraid. She caught me at a time where it was like, okay, my wife has always told me to put my work out, and I did not want to do that because it was personal to me. But once I seen that people started to like what I did, and she is the first person I've ever co-written with. I mean, and from there we just morphed. How can we say that?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's funny. You guys are gonna laugh because I think this is worth noting. So I have always thought that I've had the oddest sense of humor, and it's almost like childish in a sense. But So everybody used to come over, you know, back in the day, and I would literally spend an entire Friday night prank calling. I know this is like, you know, and I would still do it to this day. I mean, it's just something that I just find hilarious, and it makes me laugh. And I practice voices. I mean, I'll even be driving in the car. You know, I used to take long road trips when I would travel across Florida. But I'd be driving in the car and I'd be practicing all my accents and everything. But anyways, somehow Steven says that he prank calls too. And then Trixie's laughing because she's like, oh my, she's probably never met someone that has that same, you know what I'm saying? But I was laughing. I was like, how ironic, you know? I know, prank calling, right?
I know. So
that was back in the day before Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah. So
exactly.
It was interesting.
We had to be creative.
Yeah, that's interesting. She thought she was the only one that.
I did. But I have to. Do you want me to do? No, Steven, do you want me to do Trixie? You guys want me to do the accent?
Please.
Listen, Les. The crazy part about it is, please don't let my first introduction be us doing that.
No. I'll say one thing because it's kind of funny. So, and Trixie can appreciate this because Trixie is actually from the South Side of Chicago, which is ironic because that's where I was born. So I have very much picked up the Midwestern accent. So when I explained that I was going to do it, I go. Hello, is Leslie there? This is her, you know, Aunt Bernice. And if somebody, and I'm trying to look for her. I called the other day and I told her mom, you know. But anyways, that's all I'll do. But it's really funny.
I know, that's so funny. So really, we got together. We found out that our artistic talents that together. I'm a big brother to her, so more or less, I'm a tad bit older than Les is. But I tell you, she's amazing. She makes me work harder.
Oh yeah.
You know, and I'm looking at her like, this woman's crazy. She's gonna kill me. But at the same time, you know, it's good because it brings out more of your artistic.
It raises the bar. No pun intended.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, but she's amazing. She does everything. When I tell you guys, she does everything. She does everything, and we're still learning. What talents that we have. So as we discover these talents, we incorporate them and we try to find a way where we can help people, uplift people, promote people, put people on platforms so they can actually feel better about the lives that we live in now, how things are going, give people direction. That's what we do. And we join forces, and we've been loving it ever since. I wish Michael was here too.
I know you.
I know. Well, he's with the kids, and every so often I hear the kids screaming. I'm like, I'm in a live. I'm like so afraid. I'm like right there, ready to push mute if there's any craziness. But anyways, no. But it was funny because we had like when I was a kid, or not a kid, I would say 18. I was doing an internship, and I think I told you this, Stephen. I don't know if I told you this, Trixie, but I had spoken to the VP at the end of my internship, and I always like to, when people are successful, I always like to hear what they have to say for advice. And he gave me this piece of advice. And he said, one thing, never forget, everything in life is sales. And that kind of hit me. I was like, I never thought about that. But then as I started to think, I was like, well, okay, so in the dating world, you're selling yourself to a guy. In the business world, you're selling yourself, for the next job or your client. I mean, even in the legal world, you're selling yourself to a judge or a jury. So it really does come down to the ability, to sell. And I will never forget, I won't go to my childhood story that I did tell Stephen about this, which kind of made me realize at a very young age that nobody was going to do anything for me. If I wanted it done, I had to learn to do it myself, period. And I think, sometimes I think parents do that. And I don't think that's such a bad thing because it actually teaches a child to survive and to thrive and do things. I mean, we all want to have things done for us. And I did too at that point of my life. But like I said, I learned at a very young age that was not going to happen for me, and I was going to have to make things happen if I needed to make them happen. And that was actually so in my 20s. I remember I had this business and my internet got shut down. Somebody forgot to pay a bill, and they just shut my whole internet down. I mean, my whole website down, just shut it down, and I paid all this money for it. And they wouldn't put it back up, and they lost. I don't know what happened. So at that point, I remember I sat down an entire week and I said, "To heck if that's ever going to happen to me again." I was like, I'm going to teach myself to build a website out because I'm never going to have someone in control of me like that, right? And the same with the legal system. When I got failed by the legal system, that was the hard part. That was something that wasn't so easy to just learn on your own. So when I got failed by the legal system, and I realized that is kind of, that so many people are at the liberty of the legal system that if I was to ever live with any bit of relaxation to not be just completely paranoid that they could take me out at any given point, I needed to at least learn that skill. And that's why I went to law school after that, because I just swore I would never be at the mercy of an attorney and whether or not I had a $30,000 retainer for my justice. I'm sorry to go off on that, but you know what I'm saying. But
yeah, anyways, I think that's what we have a lot in common because basically, I don't know, most people don't come from money, right? But yet people have talents that they can actually do, but they are stuck in those talents and they never become a reality because they feel that they need money to bring those talents out. And they don't realize that talent that they have can turn into an actual business. So for me, I learned that just like you, Les, that I had how to do certain things on my own to promote my own business. So I was able to learn how to build websites, how to basically promote myself, how to basically solicit or find customers, how to use the channels of the internet to help my business grow. And at some point, when you're doing all of that, you learn how to survive. You learn how to basically put yourself in a position where now you have an actual running functional business. So I've had several businesses just like yourself, and really those businesses have taught me so much that today I'm able to help other people find themselves, promote themselves, look at the talents that they might not even realize that they have, and turn those into something that they love to do. Instead of getting up every day going to a job that they hate, give them something they love to do. What I do right now, I love to do. It doesn't feel like work, because it's something that I love to do. Yeah,
no, I was listening, Stephen, because I was making that promo that we had that came on at the beginning of the show. So I was listening to your interview. One of the interviews we were at the table with the two guys and everything. And I was really impressed, well, first, you had a lot of really wise statements that you had stated, which I thought were very profound. But, you were a big advocate about everybody. You said something to the effect of, and you could probably say it better than I, but you already have a business. You just haven't realized it.
Exactly. Most people who have a business at their fingertips, but it's unrealized. And what that means is that first you have come up with a business idea. That's the first thing. It's 3 stages to it, really. It's in your mind first, then you might write it down. Then when you write it down, you put it into action. Once you put it into action, that's a realized idea. Because if you keep it on paper, it's still unrealized. So people have these great, fantastic talents that they can turn into businesses for themselves, but yet they're unrealized. The world doesn't know that they have them. And that's what we do. We seek out people who might not even know that they have those talents. You know, we have conversations like we're having right now, and we find out that, you know what, we can turn that into something that can bring some equity into your home.
Right. Or maybe the talent that they think they're good at, it's not the talent that's going to bring them.
Yeah. Sometimes there's some hard lessons too, you know, like growing up. Here's a great example. Growing up, you might get it. Everybody knows this person, right? The person that think that they can sing.
Oh my goodness.
That was me. Oh my God, that was what I was about to say.
Yeah.
I was thinking, that was me. I just learned that if I like to sing, I just am not that good at it. Right. I'll just do it for fun. But
right. So, and you get that person in every family. And the family promotes this person. Oh, baby, sing for me. And they start singing. And they be like, oh my God, my baby can sing. My baby can sing. And then you fool that person.
You
growing up thinking that they're going to go on American Idol and they're going to win. And they get in front of Cal, what's his name? The guy on the American Idol.
Whatever, yeah.
He asked the question after they belt out a note, why are you here? Simon Cowell. Yeah. So, we have to sometimes let people know, okay, maybe you need to switch your talent away. Case maybe.
Exactly. You want to hear what I used to do, because you guys are jokesters, so you understand the joking behind this. So my mom, I was a really good dancer, right? So my mom, the first thing when her friends would come to the house, she'd go, oh, because I remember I was in the finals for the Mickey Mouse Club.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't sing, so I never got casted, but I made it because of my dancing, right?
Right.
So anyways, my mom I could hear her talking to her friends from Chicago that she hadn't seen, and she's like, and she talks like this, that's how I know that. Like, my daughter's an amazing dancer. Leslie, show them what you did for the Mickey Mouse Club. Dance, Leslie, dance. And so as a little girl, I was like 12 years old. I would wait till she left the room and her friends would be sitting on the couch, and I'd be like I would make it look like something's wrong with me. Like I would intentionally distort my body in the most awkward positions. Wow. And it was the worst dancing you'd ever seen in your life. And I would do it with like a straight face just to see their reaction. Wow. Because my mom was hyping me up. And then my mom would walk back in, not realizing what I had just done, that I was like doing all weird. And she'd be like, now, did you see Leslie dance? Wasn't she a good dancer?
Well, I tell you what, for those who are watching, Leslie still got some dance moves in her. She does. Now, I haven't heard her sing, but I saw her dance. So.
Yeah. Well, you guys would laugh. I mean, I could actually. You guys would laugh. It's on my TikTok. But no, it was funny because because when I was dancing, and part of dance, I mean, especially when you're doing more of like the urban style dances, you got to have the style. Like you can't be somebody doing like the Roger Rabbit from the 80s, or MC Hammer. You know what I mean? So you have to be up. And so I was asked like randomly to teach a dance class, and I was like, I better look cool for these kids, right? I can't be like some like 80s like hip hop, So I ended up going on all these TikToks, and I replicated the style that I saw. And of course, there's new songs out that I've not heard before. But I was messing around making those videos just to see if I could do it. And actually, a lot of young kids liking this video.
She kills me. You kill me. Yes. And basically, like I said, she's a firebug. So you guys, I mean, you're going to enjoy it. We got a lot that's going to happen this year, 2025. So you guys get ready. Stay in touch with us, because, again, there's going to be a lot of opportunities, a lot of events that we're having, a lot of education that you can take with you for the rest of your life. Because once you get it, right, you ever heard the saying, you can give somebody some water, but if you take them to the well and teach them how to get the water, they have water for the rest of their life. So that's what we're into. We're into showing people how to take valuable lessons with them that they can use and share with other people as they cross paths with them and meet them in their journey of life. So great. And
I want to endorse you guys, because you guys, I am very, just if people out there don't know, it takes a while for me to respect people, and it's not because I'm disrespectful. It just, respect is something very earned. And it means a lot. So when I respect someone, it's like the highest level, you know what I mean? Because they've shown themselves, or they've, shown themselves in certain situations. But I'm very like keen on just subtleties. And like I told you, Trixie, the other night, like I have never, and I'm 47 now, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I've met a lot of people.
I thought you was 27. What are you talking about?
All right. And the little lights going and the tape on my face. I'm not afraid of it. Yeah. So I have to say, you guys are two of the most wisest people that I have ever met. I mean, I'm telling you straight up, like you got the stuff that the things that you say and that I'm telling you guys, if you guys get a chance to listen. Maybe Trixie, you can go on with Steven on the Monday. His new podcast.
I won't get a word in if she comes on. I won't get a word in.
Yes, you would.
I'm telling you, like you guys. I'm telling you, you got to watch. You got to go to Steven's podcast, because I promise you, you are going to walk away learning something. And the thing is I'm telling you, and I'm very like I'm very analytical, and I'm very I've been around a lot of people, and I'm telling you, Steven's wisdom, I would hold it higher in all honesty. What was that motivational speaker? Tony Robbins. Wow. Or even a Wayne Dyer, Tony Robbins. Like you have more wisdom than they do. Wow. I'm just telling you, and I've listened to all of them. Wow. I'm just telling you, you really, guys, you got to listen to him. I'm telling you, you will not walk away without gaining something.
Now you just made me just so afraid I might not even show up.
Yeah, you would. And then you two, you have your own wisdom, Leslie. You're just still. You're at a crossroads. Wisdom comes in different sizes.
Well, she's not as old as us.
I know, but she's still wise in her own.
Oh yeah, of course.
In her own time period that she's in.
So I always say wisdom. What is wisdom, right?
Knowledge.
Put to use.
All it is
that's all wisdom
learning
is.
Knowledge that's good for you and putting it to use. It's no magic.
So anything that Les gets from me, she puts it to use. Yeah. So that makes her wise. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I'm telling you, no, because I mean, life is just such it's such a learning curve or experience, right? Because it's like you can wake up in the morning, you can reflect, right? You can sit there and say, oh, I'm going to change this about myself, and then life goes by during that day, and there's all these little things that you didn't even that you should have handled differently and you didn't,
right?
But you knew in the morning you should implement this concept. And it's practice. You got to keep practicing and coming back. And it's like, there's never a point, and I think, Steven, you and I talked about this. There's never a point where you've ever figured it out.
No. Everything is a learning. This is the beautiful thing about living life. Mm-hmm. Despite all the things surrounding you in life and the things that you have to deal with, there's two types of people, right? They say experience is the best teacher, but that's not a true statement. No. Experience is not the best teacher. Mm-hmm. Listening to other people's experiences are the best teacher, right? So therefore, I looking at the time too. Okay. We don't want to hold.
Oh no! I wanted to just see what that setting looked like.
Right. So really listening to people's experiences and then applying them and taking them into your mental database. That's what is wise. Those are the best people, because you come out with less scars.
Yeah, you don't have to have the bad experience to get it.
You don't have to have the bad experience to get it. So for me, I'm full of experiences.
And then too, we learn from other people's mistakes before us. So
I wish
try not to make the same mistakes.
Yeah, I wish I would have listened more than I experienced. Mm-hmm. So really, I don't look at myself as wise. I just look at myself as
listener.
Well, I wish I was. I look at myself as having experience. Mm-hmm. And I guess that translates into wisdom, because I now, from the experiences that I have, I'm able to apply what I've learned. And that's the key. Mm-hmm. You learn in life. Mm-hmm. You just don't live it. You have to learn.
And that's true.
How to live.
That's true what Mary said, that experience allows us to make better judgment.
That's right. Yeah. Better choices.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mary.
Yeah.
I'll see you, Mary.
Yeah, Mary's awesome. I told you guys about Mary. She's the sweet Southern Belle. Remember I told you?
That's the Southern Belle you was telling me about.
That's the Southern Belle.
You have to meet Mary.
Mary didn't know we call her Southern Belle.
Yeah, because we do live in
Southern Belle. That Southern Belle. Like Mary.
That old Mary. I want to meet that Mary as soon as possible.
Yes, she's the sweetest. And let me tell you, I that video that I had put today, I thought about, she goes, you're welcome. I thought about, after I talked to her, because we had this conversation about, there's in certain situations in life, it's not okay to not do anything. Meaning, if something's blatantly wrong, right? It's blatantly wrong, and you're watching somebody just get attacked wrongfully. For you to just sit there in silence, that's no. Sometimes you have to be for or against, right? And so that Martin Luther King quote that I had put at the end, that it hurts worse to have a friend sit silent than all the horrible words from that an enemy could ever. And I didn't say it exactly, but it was to that concept that it's way more hurtful to watch your friends just sit there and allow it than what your enemy could ever say to you, And so Mary and I were having this conversation because she has always shown herself just to be one of those people that stands behind what is right and wrong. And listen, there's going to be situations that are like shades of old time. Like, there could be a difference in opinion, but I'm talking like black and white, like wrong, like, you know what I mean? Like somebody blatantly did something wrong, and she's not afraid to take a stance. That's what I like about her.
Well, good. We got to meet Miss Mary Ward. And back to Mary, she threw 3 kisses at us at Mary Ward. Yes. Exactly. But no, you go ahead. So we're all. I'm excited. I'm excited about what we're about to do, what we're doing now. And I just look forward to meeting other exciting people because they're out there.
Right.
We just had to find them. And I have no problem with looking for them. So I look forward to it. I'm excited about this journey that we're on. Right. I mean, this is the last hee-haw for me. After that,
I did a comedy act. And you know what I did? I did a stand-up comedy act, right? And one of the things I asked to the audience, I was like, what's the word hee-haw? Like, what is hee-haw? What is hee-haw? Like, what does this mean? Like, no, but it was
you have to chat about that.
What is hee-haw?
Yeah. No, this is my last. This is it. After this, I'm gonna go sit down somewhere and
drink lemonade on a wraparound porch.
Somebody porch or somebody beach. That's where we're at.
Exactly. No, but you guys, like I said, we've got so many things we're working on. We just haven't gone full force in releasing it yet because we're working on the sides right now, so that when we do launch it and release it, it's done properly,
right?
And it's organized and everything. But there's a lot of excitement, and I'll tell you right now, guys out there, and Steve and I just had some more ideas. Trixie had some more ideas.
My wife, I blow her head off every day with ideas. It's like, will you guys?
Yeah.
Do you ever finish?
Well, Leslie, to be honest, I've never met anyone, male or on the male side, Jamie,
yes,
on the female side, to match the intensity of his brain.
Yeah. So, well, we've already had this discussion. I said to him, you're gifted, hands down. You're gifted. I know that. I knew he was gifted. Like, like my son goes to gifted program. Like, Steven is definitely gifted. Like, this is a gifted trait. I think.
God take care. They think God take care of babies and fools. So I'm not trying to be right in the middle so I can. If I'm right in the middle, I feel like I'm okay. Thank you for that, Les. Thank you for that.
No, I'm serious. Like I said, you guys, like, you're incredibly, like, you can just tell. Trust me, I encounter people in my life and I know right away, this person does not have a brain operating like normal. Like they're on another level as far as like, and then it's funny because it's usually because they're gifted. Like it's a different way of thinking and it's a different brain. And it's like, and it is different. And, they've had studies on it, but that's, your brain goes in a million directions, but it's nice to meet people that can understand that, because sometimes it can be scary to somebody that's more relaxed. They might look at you like you're manic, or they might label you all kinds of things. They don't understand.
Well, bless their heart. That's what they say out here in the South.
Mary knows what that means.
Mary, you know what that means, right, Mary? Bless their heart.
I'll pray for you. I hate that. When someone says, to me, that's condescending. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to, it's like, I'll pray for you, honey. I'll pray. I'm praying for you. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like, gosh, you to pray for me. And what are you? But it's like, it's done in like a way to like, it's condescending,
Yeah. They say it's not.
She said, yeah.
It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Like if you come across an ugly baby, you say, "Oh, baby, bless her heart." You don't lie to him. Say, "Oh, that's a beautiful baby." You're like, "Oh, bless her heart."
Bless their little heart.
You just
Mary's agreed, so we're gonna stamp that. She said,
"Yeah, Mary knows. Mary knows.
You know,
Mary knows." Mary, you need to be on this live.
Yes, Mary, you next time you got to join us on this podcast.
Mary, you guys will have a little.
Mary, I think Mary she's a wise one too. We need her too as well.
She is wise. She's definitely a wise one. No, but I'm really excited. I mean, we have so many things that are coming up, and the thing that's so nice, like I thought about this. We are almost like, we're giving you guys like a kind of like a jump start. It's kind of like a promotional boost in the direction that you want to go in. And given that we've all opened successful businesses and we've done it, and it's scary. It is scary. I heard that Stephen, when you were interviewed, it's like the biggest thing that stops people is fear. And I guess that's where. And I will say this because I agree that half of the things that people told me at some point I wish I'd listened to, and I didn't, and I ended up having to suffer myself for it. Right. But when I did experience hardships, or I did experience, losing everything, or experiencing whatever it might be, it's something I will never question again. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like solidified. Like there won't even be a question. There won't even be like taptoeing around it. But I'm not even, you know what I mean? And then I think too, when you've gone through certain things, I guess maybe it's because I'm emotional. Trixie, I don't know. I know you guys know I'm emotional, but I get empathy. I think it develops empathy when you are experiencing. That's what I'm saying. Like I always say to, I was trying to do with my own kids. And what was upsetting is when I called these like nonprofits to see if I could bring my kids. They weren't allowed; they were too young. But I wanted to bring my kids into like homeless shelters and like get food and bring them into the hospitals where kids are dying of cancer. I mean, I wanted them to see and feel what it's like to not live in their life. Do you know what I'm saying?
You know what? That's interesting. You brought that up. One of our daughters. She came to me and she said that she was going to the gun range, right? And so this is the first time I've heard this. So potentially she brought a gun. So I told her, I said, honey, before you buy a gun, I need you to go to the hospital and I need you to go to the TICU ward and look at gunshot victims. I want you to go take a look at that. And she listened to me and she went. And she came back and told me that I don't even want to carry a gun.
Wow.
Because basically she didn't understand the damage that a gun and the responsibility of having one
after firing one.
And what it would do to a body. So I can appreciate that statement that you made because, again, a lot of times we don't have enough education to make the correct decision. And that's what we need. We need people that have been there, that have done that, and that's the disconnect.
Well, that's like to me, that's we're not because in the area of law, you get especially like family law or even the guardianship stuff. You get a lot of hospital records or doctors' records of psychological evaluations, psychiatric evaluations, and so I've had to read a lot of these reports, and a lot of these really I guess they would almost be classified as almost psychopathic. The one thing they all have in common is lack of empathy. They just don't have empathy. They can't feel for another human being. And that's what always scared me about the coming out of AI and if we're in the future of a bunch of robots. I said, what would you be more afraid of, a robot holding a gun to your face or a human? I mean, why? Because the robot, they're not going to have a point where they have any emotion, And so that is, to me, the way that I guess, people have told me you're overly empathetic. Well, that came with a lot of pain growing up. But, and for whatever reason I am, and that's just who I am. But I think if it doesn't mean you have to go have pain. Like you were saying, Stephen, you don't have to go out there. I would hope people wouldn't have to go through some of the pain that I had. I would hope that pain that you've gone through, you've told me stories. I would hope they don't have to go through that. I would hope that they could just have a moment to think about if this, it's that, imagine standing in their shoes and how would they feel? And people don't do that. It's there's so many people out there that just aren't, I don't know.
We also lost people from going through experiences. See, what you're looking at now are survivors.
Yeah.
But there are many who we've lost that wasn't able to survive some of those experiences. That's why it's imperative that people take notice of other people's experiences and make an educated decision from there, because it's not guaranteed that you'll be able to survive it.
Yeah, and when you think about AI and artificial intelligence and education in itself, the world is geared right now, is gearing toward artificial intelligence, educating our children from birth. But if you remember, back in the day, it was, and still today, but people don't recognize that it's the parents' responsibility to educate their children, not teachers, not pastors, not, the justice system. The first education process starts at home, and when you think of the values that children don't have, it's because everything is artificial, and they're desensitized. So, knowing that, when you said you wanted to take your kids and put them in an environment where they can see with their own eye what something is, or how the world really is outside of technology. And when you do that, they're able to, to show that emotion. They're able to have that empathy. But if that never happens, they're just going off of whatever's on their iPhone, their iPad, their tablets, whatever they see, as far as technology. So you're right. You should spend time to take your children, to pull them out so that you can give them that empathy, because they're not going to get it through AI.
Kids are not born knowing. They have to be reared. And now, unfortunately, the internet is a great tool that we have, but it wasn't made to train your children.
No,
it wasn't. I mean, it can assist you. It can help, but it was never made
to replace
you. And it has, unfortunately. And we're talking about a lot of different issues. All
it's okay, guys. Like I said, we had a cancellation tonight, so we kind of took over.
Right.
We kind of made we're just going to talk about.
It's just real talk.
Yeah,
it's real. This is real. Keep it real.
When we do get together, it'll be more structured. We'll have a specific topic, and we'll stick to it, won't we, Les? We'll stick to that.
Absolutely, yes. We will have it. It won't be. This is more casual tonight, guys. And like I said, it was because it was unanticipated that we had a cancellation, and so we're just kind of winging it. Right, but you're getting to know everybody, which I think is really, really important.
We're real people. We're real people. That's the thing. That we're real people. And look, I mean, just look at it for what it is. Les is from a different background than I'm from. We love Les.
We're all family.
We family. That's my little sister over there.
No, I'm telling you guys, I can't even tell you, you guys have been so incredible to me. And the thing that has just been so wonderful is that, you never know, and this is the thing, people don't really know where people come from. They don't know, whatever story they had. And I'll be honest, Mary knows, she saw I went through really hard time, in the last 2 years, and it almost made me not want to socialize anymore. Right. I almost became a recluse, and I almost gave up on humanity. And I was just forget it. But you guys have been such a blessing to me. And just showing me that they're real people out there. They're real people that truly care, truly, give you good advice. They're not trying to screw you over. They're just good people. And, that's it's funny because it's the people that you would never think. It's the people that actually most people would think that would be my close, or not at all. You know what I mean? It's I get along with it. It has nothing to do with where we come from or
we came out of the same mold, and we're on the same exact planet.
We came out of the Matrix.
Oh my God!
But oh my gosh, so you guys have got to hear.
Could you erase that part that you just said? The Matrix, please.
I thought I had to go there. It was just funny.
But the whole point is that we came out of the same mold. We're on the same planet. We weren't made to be disunified. We were made to live together on the same planet. People forget that. They lose that. They began to talk about where you come from, how much money you have, the color of your skin.
Who's your mama? Who's your mama? Who's your daddy?
What country you come from? What city you from? What borough? What block? I mean, it goes all the way down to that. And that is, I think, in my
idiotic.
It's idiotic, and I think it's lazy. You know why I think it's lazy? Because it takes more effort to build a relationship than to break one.
Right. We all eat food.
It takes more effort.
We all have families.
Yeah. So
absolutely. It's I'll tell you what I think. This is what I learned, and I only learned this really off of my experiences in our legal system, because it's very clear in the legal system. It's kind of like the military, right? You got a chain of command, right? You got those in power, and you know who they are. And I think so much, and I think everything really can be connected to fear. I think these people get into these places of power and greed and dominance, and they're so afraid, which to me is ridiculous. That's not, life isn't about power and greed and money. It's not what life's about. But they get so fearful. Mm-hmm. But you know what I'm saying? That they don't want to relinquish their power. So they intentionally try to segregate themselves away from everybody that could potentially take over their power. And you know, and that's what I've learned. And it's really sad because, you know, you have to ask yourself, like, what is your life about? Right? What is it about? It's just, you know, but that's what I'm hoping. I think it's great too, because we are touching on really good subjects that I think are definitely worth bringing, you know, because they need to be brought up. Because, you know, as you guys said, and I said this in the last podcast, you know, we've got a long way to go. We're not anywhere near where people think we are. And like I said, I know this because I saw what they did to conceal what was really going on. And it's not something that would be visible to the public, right? So like I always say, discrimination has not gone away by any means. They've just gotten a lot better at hiding it.
Right. And then as humans, if you remember that stint during COVID, when the world shut down, it was not just the United States, it was the entire globe. Basically shut down. People were like almost under martial law. We couldn't leave our houses. People were getting sick and dying. Eventually, people, regardless of how bad the situation is, how bad the justice system is, how bad the world is, people will find a way to survive the system. And that's pretty much what we do.
Well, I tell you, I want to be totally honest. I loved COVID.
I actually did too. No, I made more money than I ever had. I could be in Miami in the North Panhandle.
It saved money.
Listen, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about COVID. I'll be quick. That was the time I found out whether or not the shovel that was inside our garage, my wife was going to use it to bury me. Okay? This is what we found out, that we didn't mind being around each other every day. And guess what? When COVID was over and my wife went back to work, I didn't know what to do. I was sitting here pouting, and my wife was like,
"Where's my wife?"
Yeah, because I was so used to having her around. Just think about that. Over 2 years, you're in the same house. It's either you're going to kill each other or love each other to death. And for us, it worked in our favor. So I enjoyed. Awesome. I mean, I hated what COVID did, you know, to people. But as far as when that situation happened, we got the most out of it. Yeah, we really did.
Yeah, you have to find the best in the worst.
Yeah,
when the worst happens, you have to dig through that mess and find the best case scenario.
So we got a saying, right? You have to dig through the dirt to get to the gold. That's a saying.
I like that. Oh my gosh. You know what we should do? I just thought about this. You know, it'd be fun to come back on and do. We'll have to end soon, but you know what I thought would be really fun? We should do like a comedy, like something funny. Like
oh my God. You're taking it to another level.
I know. I'm sorry. I had to stab at stand-up comedy.
Take me seriously. Here I am, a comedy show 1 week, and then here I'm telling them about how to live their life.
Why do you think I have all these different names? Okay, because I've come to this realization that I'm a lot of different people inside. Not multiple personality, but I don't want to confuse the world. I mean, if you saw the hip hop videos of me dancing and then you see me in court, you'd never believe it. Mary song. She might not have seen the hip hop dancing, but some of my friends, they were shocked. They couldn't believe I could do it.
Mary, you need to see the hip hop dancing. I'm talking about the recent one, Mary. Don't go back in the day. See the recent one. You're gonna be blown away. Trust me.
Yeah, you guys would laugh. Well, you know, I'll pull one up on one of these shows and I'll just show it. Yeah. But, you know, the thing is like that's one thing that I have to say before we wrap up. Then you guys can say whatever you guys want.